Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next Awakening Spiritual Gifts show, weekdays at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So happy to be here. Today, well, if you've been watching, you know that we usually like to start out with an daily energy read of what's going on around us and what's going on like collectively in the energy. And then we'll also open it up to any questions you might have. So go ahead and add all your comments and your questions, and we can get to those as we can. So, all right, first and foremost, let's look at the daily energy read. Well, actually, I have a question for everyone first. Did anybody have any strange dreams last night? Seemed like almost everybody I've talked to, or like I've been seeing some posts on social media this morning that people were having dreams, and I'm curious if anyone else did. I know I did. It was like this big, drawn, long one. It felt like there were symbolic pieces. It was like my subconscious working through some things in it. So I'm really curious if anybody had some dreams. If you've I just love to look at patterns and hear how look at patterns and see how other people are affected too. So that's just straight curious question. So go ahead and comment below there. I'm looking at the daily energy read. Oh, interesting. It feels as if okay. Oh, Nicole, you put that. You've had crazy dreams. Okay, I'm curious about everyone else too. Let me know. Okay, so if you've been following every day, or if you didn't see yesterday, we've been just kind of going through some interesting storyline for these energies. A lot of uprooting, a lot of things coming up. And yesterday I saw like a little bit of like a stormy energy, I guess is the way that I can describe it. And it was coming down and looked like it was just hitting different like groups of people. Like it was just targeting more populated areas of people. And we've had like some winds and blowing things around. And so what I'm seeing right now though is there's almost a stillness in the air, which is kind of interesting. If you think about like yesterday with the storm energy, and now there's a little bit of a stillness, it kind of makes me wonder if there's some kind of like, like if you're in an eye of the storm is still there. It's just, you got one side of the storm and then it goes peaceful for a moment and then the other side will pass over you. So it feels a little bit, oh, sorry, sometimes energy makes me yawn. I'm not tired. It's not a tired yawn. But it feels almost like a holding your breath. So it's not quite like a peaceful calm, like, oh, yay. But it's like, let me hold my breath. What's going to come? What's going on? So that was kind of interesting here. And then let's look to see what else is coming down. It's almost like energetic rain is coming. It's blue in nature. It feels soothing and healing and washing away things, as well as feeling a little bit more of just kind of continuation of just that breath washing it away. And then there's just this energetic rain that's coming down to help soothe it, to just ease up, just kind of to take a break a little bit. Like it's been building in intensity, and this is just taking a little bit of a break with some of those strands. Also, too, there's some information aspects of the energetic rain. Like when I look at them, it looks like there's little. Have you ever seen like computer generated, like on shows or whatever? If there's like a computer generated stuff, even like the Matrix, like just kind of like this little technology look to it. It's almost the way sometimes the energy looks when I'm looking inside of it. Like there's a little bit of that technology messaging, or just information is the word there. So information, which I actually love that. And it feels very much like there's that aspect of it, but then I also feel like some extra additional angelic help around each of us, giving us just kind of the putting the arms around you, giving you a hug, just a little bit of comfort. I gather that if somebody is looking for like some, yes, I want extreme clarity and extreme direction so I can take some extreme action steps today. It doesn't feel like the day that's going to be really like, I'm not doubting that some people might get that, but today overall, it's more like that. You're not going to really lean into that type of experience. It might be more of a reflective or a pause or a, just like, before you're getting the next stage. So anyway, let me know. I'm curious how, if you're feeling any of those and if it's speaking to you. So hello. Yeah. Okay. More people saying some dreams. Yeah. I'll tell you, like the whole angelic realm and our loved ones and any of our ancestors on the other side that have passed. This is a time where there's a lot of the other side that is concerned for us, thinking about us, loving on us, giving us comfort, helping us give direction. It's like I can feel and see a lot of times that just almost like that heaven energy is just very much focused on what's going on right now. There's just so many transitions and so many uprooting and things to heal and to work on and all that stuff. So, right. Well, if you guys have some questions or something you'd like to look at, just let me know. I also have got an anonymous one here. Let me go. Sorry, I know sometimes it's not as fast without my lovely Christy with me. Let me look at this anonymous. Oh, also, just while I'm waiting for some questions to come in, you guys, it's here. The Navigating the Challenges of an Awakening, or the Navigating an Awakening webinar has been scheduled for Tuesday night at 7 p.m. So make sure that if you've commented on past trainings with the word awakening, you should have received the link, but I'm going to put the link up here right now so that you can see. Pretty much you just go to the intuitiongym.com/awakening. And that goes through the cycle, what we call the cycle of ascension. It goes through all of these patterns and these challenges that come up, some of the things that you may be going through. And we're just going to kind of go through the whole process and teach it to you so that you can recognize it and it can get easier for you and you can feel empowered and like you have tools and some knowledge and tools and skill sets to help you work through it better. We're all part of this awakening process. So going on right now. So if you are interested, go ahead and go to that link below for to register for that webinar. If you cannot attend live on Tuesday night, you will also get the recording. Just so you know. Okay, let's see. All right, Elaine, awesome. Let's go ahead and look at your digestive. Let me pull you up here just for a minute. Okay, Elaine. Good question. Let's take a look for you. And I'm curious, Elaine, is this something that's just recent, or is this like a chronic thing that you've been working through? And then I'm going to look at the energy of it really fast for you. Okay, so there's actually a lot of emotions that I'm seeing kind of chronic. Okay, so, but I can see that it's definitely a bit more right now, especially with, there's a lot of emotional components on that. Some of the words that came to me were like, if you're feeling uncertain, if you're not sure, if you're nervous about something, and it also too has something to do, like if you're nervous about outcomes, I feel like maybe there's something like worried about like how something's going to turn out. Like that whole thread is affecting the gut. Also, if you're nervous about like saying something wrong, doing something that like just kind of almost discounting or doubting your action steps and doubting your um like your abilities in what's going on. Also too, it's a little bit of holding back. This almost makes me want to kind of a pukey puke feeling. And I actually see too, it has some all the way back to like childhood connections here, where it's making it a little bit nervous about how to speak up for yourself, how to like verbalize certain things, because it feels like when you try to verbalize something, it might go wrong and you might get in trouble, or somebody might criticize you. It might cause more problems in a relationship. It feels like there's something about that with you speaking up, and it just is making you feel a little nervous and like uncertain about it. And like I said, it does have strands all the way back into childhood. So whatever you're experiencing now is it's like anytime you have these childhood things, then it's as if you've got layers where it just kind of goes layer and layer and layer and layer. And so eventually you've got a big giant, filter that even if it like one tiny thing affects you, you're reacting with all of those filters that have added up since childhood. So it feels like there's a little bit of uncertainty now, but it's bumping into those layers and layers throughout all the way from childhood. So I would definitely say take some deep breaths. Why am I yawning so much today? It's not even sleep. I do know I yawn with whenever I'm seeing it, like energy stuff sometimes, but is there a lot of energy or something? Anyway, so I would say just breathe through it. Lots of breath work, lots of focused on talking to your stomach, talking to yourself, comforting it as if you were speaking to a loved one and it's having a hard time. It's like, it's okay. Like do a lot of soothing. And then also find ways for you to speak and to get things out. So good question. Hope that helps, my dear. All right, let's go to Rosie. Awesome. Glad you're here, Rosie. Okay, let's look at so we've got we've got spiritual gifts and we've got spiritual senses. So our spiritual senses are the way that you receive information. So that's like whether you see it, know it, feel it, your heart, your body, like how you pick up the signals. Those are what we call spiritual senses. And spiritual gifts are the gifts and abilities that you have that have been given to you, and then they work through your senses. So I'm just going to kind of look at to see which of those stands out most for you for what answer you're looking for when you mean when you're asking about spiritual gifts. So let's see here. So, I'm trying to decipher what this energy means. So I'm seeing like some things coming out through your stomach, and it's like coming up through your stomach and then to serve, and it kind of includes your heart as well. So I'm just looking at a few things to figure out what all that means. Okay, one of the first things is I'm actually wondering if you have some clairsentience, which is the spiritual sense of like your sensory and your physical body. So if maybe you get a lot of, let's say if something doesn't feel right, all of a sudden your stomach will start to really like not feel right. Or you get kind of body senses and sensory things like maybe a tug or a tickle or a pinch or like a random pain, and that's your body speaking to you. But I especially see it strongest in your stomach there. I also see there's something here about a message. I'm seeing some of the gifts around. It's like I feel like there's some people gifts where there's specific people that you can help and serve. And it's something about like empowering them. So giving them power and like that influence. Okay, and then I'm also seeing perhaps some example or like a teaching gift here, where I see you kind of laying out some of these things that you feel and that you know, but you're laying them out in a, like, it almost looks like tracks, like you're laying down the tracks for people. So that just means it, like, if you're teaching somebody, it's like, okay, here's the foundations of what we learned, and then we're going to build on it and build on it and build on it. And so it feels like you could do a really good job with helping people understand these steps to take, or like the structure and the track to take to get to learn or to find answers for themselves. I also feel like you've also got some abilities with like your ears and your mouth and your throat, like things that you hear, and you're supposed to speak what you hear. So whether that's in the moment when you're serving someone and you're speaking like, oh, hey, I just have this, like, here, let me just tell you this, or whether it's where you hear something and write it down, but it feels like you've got something with what you say and how you express something you're supposed to express, and how it comes through your ears and the hearing. So definitely let me know on that one. Those are some really cool gifts. So love it. Okay, let's look at this. Elena. Weird sensation in your right foot. Now, Elena, I know for sure, has that clairsentient that I was talking about. Her body speaks to her quite like mine does too. Yeah, so let's look at that. That's kind of a big thing. I'm going to hide it now. Now you can see my face. All right, so we're going to look at the right foot, feeling if it's just the earth or something else. For me, like when I'm looking at this and the energy of your right foot, it feels as if you're taking a step forward in some way, and it feels a little nervous, like it's walking on uncertain ground. So when your foot comes out and you're like, yes, I'm going to take a step. I don't know if you have a business, but especially with that right foot, it makes me think that you've got like something like you're thinking of doing, charging for something, or to have a business of some kind, and you're making some steps forward. And it just feels like there's not the foundation to stand on. And what if it is? And it feels like there's some uncertainty, like maybe you're doubting, or like, yes, it feels good. And then no, it doesn't. And so it's just this foot is kind of feeling a lot of these sensations, like go or stop, go or stop, go or stop. And it's just kind of buzzing there, and then keeping it from fully moving forward. A fun thing that I like to do is I actually like to have conversations with my body parts. Like if it's not feeling good, I'll be like, and what are you feeling? Say, hey, foot, like, how you doing? What's going on, foot? And just imagine that your foot is talking back to you. And what does your foot say? I feel like your foot has a lot to say right now. Like a lot of these vibrations and things going on is like, I got a lot to say, like a lot of messages there. So I would recommend listening to those. Also too, just to kind of let you guys know, at the end of the call yesterday, I started doing these really fun, started doing almost like quick reads. So I'm going to do some quick reads more, especially when we got a lot of people on. I'm going to start doing some quick reads so that we can serve more people. Not necessarily that I'm not going to like try to skimp on anything. If there's something that's like absolutely share more, I will. But I feel like I can speed it up and like serve more people. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm doing. Let's go to Gina. And again, also just to let us know, like, how is this resonating? Like, as you get these readings and as it's coming up, like, please let us know, like, what it means to you. And if it's pretty right on, or if you have something else, like, let us know. And then as always too, like, we're always grateful that if you could pay it forward, even share it to your page or to even a group. I know some people are in groups that you can share to. Just share it so we can spread this wonderful message. All right. And where'd you go? Here we go. Gina, let's look at you. Oh, Gina. Okay. First thing first, the thing that popped into my head. I don't know if you're Christian or not, but I just had this feeling to have you read Corinthians or 1 Corinthians 12, that chapter. And it goes through spiritual gifts. And it talks about how there's a diversities of operations, and there's a diversities of administrations. Like, so they are going to work differently, they operate differently. And then there's a whole like unlimited amount of gifts. So just to understand that, like, just because you have a hard time finding gifts, it almost feels like I can almost feel and kind of see some of that, like oh, am I special? Like, do I have any gifts? And I just want to say, absolutely, you do. And you've got just as, like, you've got a whole number of gifts, and they just might look or operate differently. So you cannot compare it to somebody else. The other part of Corinthians 12 that I absolutely love is it talks about how we're all part of one body. And it kind of makes me laugh because at one point it's like, the foot doesn't say to the head, like, oh, I wish I was a head. Or, like the different body parts don't have to be jealous of each other or compare because they're all essential. Now, some gifts might be flashier. They just might be like, I mean, I gotta say, like, I can see energy and light. That could be a flashy one. That's why I was so hesitant for so long to do this live show. I've been told all year long to do this. And I was like, oh, I don't want to seem flashy because I was just like, I don't want to do that. But so, like, can be out there, but I don't ever want anybody to feel like, oh, I can't do that and what Martina's doing, so I'm not gifted. Because that's such a bunch of baloney. In fact, in the intuition gym, when we help people and like over the years and years and hundreds of people that I've coached and helped, it's like, it's amazing to see the light in someone's eye when they finally see, oh, I have my unique gifts. And like, I'm fine the way I am. And it's just like this light in their eye, and I love it. There are some awesome resources if you have not watched these yet. And I'll look at your energy specifically too, but I feel like this is part of it. One of the first things is that you can still access, or this is like, I think it's just over an hour long. It's a really great training about how to deepen your mastery of spiritual senses. So it's how to identify the 10 spiritual senses. We also go through the different intuitive personality types. So how your personality fits in there with the spiritual senses. It's a great foundation. If you have not taken that class yet, it's just the intuitiongym.com senses. Highly recommend that. Because then it just kind of gives you an idea of, oh, I might be different. Like I see light and energy, but I've had people that are like, that are totally like taste things, and they have just as much quick discernment as I do, and they're using with their tongue and the textures and saliva and their throat, and it just speaks to them. So there's lots of different ways to have spiritual senses. Okay, so Gina, let's go back. For you specifically, I'm going to tell you that I do see a lot of energy in your mind. Now, this leads me to think that you probably have some claircognizant senses or like a knowing. But sometimes when you have the knowing in your head, it's like you just know things, you don't know how you know it, and it's hard to tell people because they're going to ask you, well, how do you know that? And you're like, I don't know. I just do. Like, how do you find evidence when you just get things pop into your head and you just know them? Or somebody will say something, you'll be like, oh, I already knew that. How'd you know? I don't know. Like, so there can be some doubt that can come in with that knowing. So I would just lean in and start trusting some of those internal knowing impressions that you're getting. I also am seeing some beautiful gifts of your heart. Or this is the spiritual sense. So I'm seeing you just have some of that like heart and the empathy there. And then I'm also seeing like connections and strands to serving people. Now it's like, I'm seeing that you have some of these gifts of just being able to know how to serve a person. Like, oh, they need XYZ, like a checklist of like, oh, I can see how to make their life easier. They requires, this, and this to make it easier. So I see that you have that incredible ability, and to lean into that. Like, not everybody has that. I can lean in with their energy and kind of what they feel, but like to actually go, oh, they, those particular steps, that doesn't come natural for me. So that is definitely something unique to you. I'm also seeing, I'm seeing some like these gifts. It's funny. And I'm like seeing them move through your arms, but it's like, I'm seeing this ability to gather. So it's like, I'm seeing this gathering energy, pulling people in. And then, like, I almost think, I bet you got some great holidays or Sunday dinners or something like where you could gather people and family around, because you just like gather and you just can know how to serve and like how to make it a really beautiful experience for them. So those are some great gifts. And it is a form of healing. Like, you can have healing gifts even if they, feel like they're more for like physical and emotional, like not necessarily like, oh, I'm going to touch you and be healed. Like, the gifts that I've just explained are just as important for healing. They just look different. And then I'm also seeing some gifts with your throat and your voice, and maybe some things for you to share. I'm getting a little bit of maybe like nervousness to share or nervousness to speak up, but it feels like you do have important things to say, whether that be to the one or to a few, or even if it's kind of the instructional things that I was saying, like, oh, here, let me speak up because I've got a really great idea. Feels like that might be a little scary to do, but when you do it, they're brilliant. I mean, like they're brilliant ideas. So the more you do it, hopefully the more you'll do it. Like it's just like habit, and it'll strengthen it for you. So anyway, yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. I'm just looking at the comments here. So anyway, Gina, let me know how that feels. But it feels like the gifts might be looking different than you think that they might be looking. Like there's something in your mind that you're like, oh, I don't have gifts because it doesn't look a certain way, or I'm having a hard time because you're expecting it to look a certain way, and yours just might be looking different. So start you playing, like use this as a game. Like what can be a gift? What comes natural to you? What is comes easy to you? What are your interests? What do you admire in other people? All of those things can be clues for finding your gifts. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, let's do. I'm just kind of I going through and just intuitively kind of picking some. Oh, they're just coming in. I love you guys. Okay, let's go down to. Okay, quick read for Andrea. So for you, general read, I see a lot of energy that's wanting to come out of your throat and voice. It feels like maybe there's things to say, but even more than that, it feels like it's being fueled by something in your heart. Like I see a little bit of a fire energy, like it just wants to like speak up, and to either speak up for yourself, or maybe there's parts of your personality that you've been trying to keep a lid on, and now it's time to just come out and be like, here's who I am. Let me do my full, pure, clear expression that's super authentic and clear. So definitely open up that throat and that voice and let yourself shine, whether it be through being seen or heard. It's all important. So that fire energy can feel a little scary sometimes. It's like, well, that feels intense, but just find ways that you can let it out, and start experimenting and letting it out a bit more so that you can feel fully expressed. So good. Let's see. Okay, Daphne, let's do a quick read for you. So Daphne, I'm seeing something tugging on your heart. So what is that? It's like a couple different strands. Are there a couple different people or situations or things that you're concerned about? Just feels like it's kind of weighing your heart and kind of pulling you back a little bit. And so it just feels like someone or something that you really care for, and it's just kind of like on the back of your mind, or like even if you're trying to go about your day, it's just kind of back there. You may actually, it's like I think you know what these things are, but it's like I see you trying to, like, okay, I'm just going to go about my day, try to just be productive and do my day, and these things are like in the back of the mind and the heart, just trying to get attention. So the only thing I would say is make sure that as long as, like, even if you're taking time throughout the day, something with sinuses too, like maybe there were some tears or some crying that you didn't quite express there. But I would say, like, yeah, sometimes, if you've got a day where you've got to be a little productive, you've got responsibilities, be a little difficult to acknowledge all of that. But just to make sure you're taking the time, listening to your heart, speaking to your heart, these emotions and anything that comes through, if you've got to express it, definitely get that out as much as you can. And let me know how that relates for you. Because it just feels like it feels like it's a distraction a little bit, but because of the emotions there. Okay, let's see. Okay. Let's go to April. April. Let's see you. Okay, first and foremost, reminder to breathe and be really present. Feels like your energy is kind of bouncing and like vibrating, like, oh, I want to do all these things and I want to do this and this. Like, let's just breathe and come into the present moment, into your body, into just being present brings you a lot of clarity and allows you to receive more. Because if you picture just like, I'm like kind of bouncing here, then things are going to bounce off. Like, I want to do all the things. I want to go all the places. And then you end up doing nothing and not going anywhere because you can't go in multiple places or do multiple things at once. So just really taking that deep breath and really being present in this moment and present in your heart and in your body. I do see that, I see some beautiful intentions that you would like to receive or to experience in your life. And that, that perhaps you have an idea of what you want. I don't know if there's something with it. It feels like physical body because it feels very much like image. Like you've got an idea of what you want yourself to look like or to be like. So there's something where you're imagining yourself and it feels like there's a disconnect of where you want to be and where you like want to see yourself at and then where you are now. And that disconnect and that gap there is creating some space, some openings for any of those negative voices to come in and kind of like make you feel bad about yourself or give you like sneak in those negative thoughts telling you that you're not good enough, pretty enough, thin enough, whatever those enoughs are. Like it just is it's a doorway for those little enoughs to come in. And so even if you could just kind of like imagine or try to do some meditation or anything to where you just merge those two together, where like you are one and the same. So I love that. Love that. Let me know how that goes. And just sending lots to love to you, April. Because I also see like there's some life chaos kind of swirling around you. So I know it's like I'm trying to do this and I'm trying to do this in amidst a bunch of little chaos things. And so just to have a lot of grace and a lot of love for yourself. And so I'm sending you lots of love too. Oh, good. Alrighty. Aw. I love reading your comments here. Okay, let's see. This is a great question. Let's go to this one because this is just fun to even just kind of share how the energy looks. So, Jennifer, what a fun question. I'm fascinated and curious with how you see energy. What does my energy look like? Color, pattern, flow. That's so fun. Yes. Okay. So, like, pretty much all of the above. I see all of the above. It's like strands, connections. It's like a bunch of jumbled things layered on top of each other and it's always moving. So that's why, like, I mean, literally, that's what it looks like. When I first had it come on, whatever, like to this level when it first started, I really had to hole up and like be a hermit because it got really overwhelming. I didn't know what I was seeing or how much I was seeing. It was like I walked around with like x-ray vision, felt super super overwhelming for a really long time. Like even if I just looked at a tree, I could see the connections, the way it would go down into the ground. I could see the life, like the patterns going up into it. I could see the branches coming out. I could see the flow of the wind. And then, then like there was one day I was watching the tree and then I looked up, there's a helicopter in the sky. And so it's almost like this ocean of energy. I'm seeing the waves in the sky. And then this helicopter is there. And I saw like, it looked almost like water rushing in it and it was using the energy. And it was like taking the energy from the atmosphere in the sky and it was rushing it in. And to where it was using it was like blackened. So I just knew it was just like using this energy. And it was like like using where the engine was. If I like look at food or something like that, I'm seeing, so I also see, like, I see the aura emanations, I see the strands. I can also see kind of like grids in the way that we were made, like the outline and the structure. If I'm like, once when I was watching my daughter at a choir concert, I could tell where the parents were connected to these kids because I could see little light strands coming from the kids to different places in the audience. So I knew that and it was kind of this light coming from their heart to other people. So I was kind of like, I bet I could kind of like find out where parents were according to these little kids' heart energy. It was kind of cute. But then also too, more than anything, I also see, this is why I don't say darkness. It's a scale of light and a scale. It's not like when I see darkness, it doesn't necessarily mean, ooh, that's absolutely evil, right? The helicopter is not inherently evil. It just was using an energy. Or when I look at a human body and I see a lack of light and maybe even some darkness in an area, that tells me there's lack of life force or energy flowing to it. So it could be like an injury or illness or some kind. So I do see like darkness. One time, one of the more alarming things, but I learned a ton from it, was actually watching a woman on a treadmill at the gym. And she was watching something like Jerry Springer. And it was just kind of like this show that was just anger, 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 and they're fighting. And I could see some of her light being sucked into the screen. And so I really kind of learned too that like the content that we choose to watch or listen to, the thoughts we think, like, or we can gain light or we can lose it. It can just be like light to me is everything light and truth and vibrancy and health and wholeness and healing and love and peace. It's like I call them principles of light. All the principles of light have like the high frequency of bright colors. And it kind of looks like opalescent. So there's all different kinds of colors, but it looks shiny and kind of glimmery in a way. Or sometimes it looks cloudy. Anyway, I hope that kind of helps with how to look at that. Asking like to take a look at your energy, what you look like. That's kind of a big question because you actually have a lot of these things. You're not just one color. You're not just one flow, depending on your thoughts for the day, the emotions of the day. And then you've got your overall, like the spiritual senses is where I see a lot of flow, but your spiritual gifts, I see them almost coming in through the flow, if that makes sense. Like they're kind of in layers around, or I feel it in my body too, because my body is really loud and it's like I can feel the flow of it and how it manifests. And then it's very symbolic. Like, well, where else do you see that, or where else does it feel like that? And so if I were to say just one quick thing, what you look like or what you feel like, I'm going to just go with the first thing off the bat. I get something in the throat, like something that you say. There's something that you're supposed to say. I don't know if you like to talk or you feel like you're not talking enough, but there's definitely something with talking that is wanting to be heard even more. So fun question. Oh, excuse me. All right. Fun question. Okay, let's see here. All right. I was going to do one more. Let me see here. There's one about, oh, yes, this one. Okay, Felicia. Welcome, Felicia. Yes, your son, he fell and needed stitches and it is healed now, but I keep having flashbacks. So why is this happening? That is absolutely just a trauma response. And also too, trauma can be held energetically and also in our mind, in our body. Trauma is held a lot of different ways. And to understand a little bit about what happens with trauma, or even when you're in like a fight or flight scary moment. So certain things start to happen. Your energy, like your physical body, your internal organs, like your digestive system starts to slow down and your body starts to divert energy out to your outer limbs, increasing adrenaline, right? Like, oh, high stress. We got to get ready to fight or flight, run or fight, right? And so it's sending all this like energy to your outer limbs, cutting down on your digestive systems and some of those other things that are not crucial in that moment to get you to safety as soon as possible. Your brain does some very interesting things, and especially with your eyes and all of your senses. All of your senses start going boom, like on, like super duper heightened. So your mind starts snapping pictures like what is the weather like, what is this like, what is this like, and start storing it so that you never have to experience that again. So when you're having flashbacks, you're having some of those snapshots replay in your head. Some of those snapshots can actually get even stuck in your head for years if you don't. Like, I mean, I've done work on clients and stuff, and it's like, oh, you've got this like image that's stuck in your head, and it's like on replay, and it comes from some of those things where it could especially be like traumatic, and it kind of was on replay. And then also too, it starts remembering everything around you. What does the air smell like? What are you eating? Sometimes allergies are actually based on this. So let's say you had, let's say your grandma had a traumatic event while eating strawberries, like something scary and traumatic happened. Then her brain and her energy, her subconscious might go, whoa, this was part of a dangerous situation. And strawberries are now clumped in with the weather and people and all the situation. And then that can even be passed down to generations, like to grandparents and then to grandkids. And it's like, I've got a strawberry allergy. It's like, I experienced this with my dad. For some reason, we have identical allergy symptoms, but when he goes to an allergist, he has zero allergies, but I do. And the way that they manifest in my body is through breathing and like through some of the through the sinuses. So there's a lot of like not feeling safe. I can't breathe because it's this asthma. And then also the sinuses, feeling there's emotions. You can't cry. You got to hold it in. Like I've done a lot of work and have had tons of improvement. And that's kind of the stuff that has come from it. So it's some of that lineage stuff. And so I would recommend for you, definitely, if you can start to heal yourself and start to get out of that fight or flight, bringing yourself back in, taking those deep breaths, like breathing, allowing that scary moment to be over with, and then kind of coach yourself through it. There's also some, like EFT is a great thing. That's like tapping. You can kind of tap some of the trauma out. There's also techniques you could do, like rubbing your hand. You've got a lot of nerves and stuff in your hands, and there's things here that can kind of soothe. Another place for soothing is right here on your face. So if you're getting flashbacks, you're feeling scared, you can do that. Or even here on your chest. Start rubbing it like you're like rocking it like a baby. Like if a baby you're holding a baby, you're like, it's okay. It's okay, baby. Start doing that to yourself. It's okay. Take those cleansing breaths that tell you that the threat is over, right? Like if you just ran in the house, you were chased by a dog and you run into the house and slam the door, it's over. That kind of breath right there could be really good for helping you pull out of that flashback. So, and actually we all have stuff like that in us. So if you ever feel anxiety, stress, if you're worried about something, if you're having flashbacks, or even trauma energy is really vibrating and kind of stressful. If you feel any of those things, a lot of those tools that I just shared can totally help bring you out of it. So good. Yeah. And it just might take a little time too, to try keep talking your system into we're safe. So good. All right. Well, I love you all. Thank you for being here today. And as a reminder, if you are interested in learning about how to navigate an awakening or some of the challenges of an awakening, there's a lot of different symptoms that we're all going through physically, emotionally. We got a lot going on. And so if you'd like to learn more about that, don't forget to sign up for the webinar. It's on Tuesday night. And you also can get the recording of that. So sign up there at theintuitiongym.com/awakening. So, all righty, everyone. Thank you for being here today. And I will see you Monday at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. See you then.